Hey everyone, it's your homegirl, Jenny Lee with VRA Realty. Welcome to another episode of Good to Know in Chester County, your inside scoop on local businesses that make Chester County feel like home. And today's guest, well, he knows all about making the moves, literally. Whether you are moving across town or starting fresh in a new state, he's the guy that brings all the muscle and the friendly service. He's the owner of AMF Friendly Movers. So if you hate packing and hauling all those boxes, you will definitely want to listen for all the tips and the stories he has to share. So please help me welcome Tom O'Neill.
Hey guys.
Tom.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me out.
Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So this podcast is all about Chester County and the businesses. And the one thing that I really like starting off with is telling me about how you got started.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because I want to ask you a question too.
Okay.
Like, are you a Chesco girl or did you grow up someplace else?
Born and raised Chesco.
Okay, so I'm a Chesco transplant. I actually come out of Delco. So, I mean, you can hold that against me or not. It's up to you. It really makes no difference to me. So moving is, it's... So how I got started, right? So 10 years ago, it was something that I was doing on the side.
Okay.
I would do it on weekends. I absolutely hated it, but I was really good at it. And the gentleman that I was working for was like, why do you do this? And I'm like, well, the money's really good. And he's like, well, why wouldn't you do it full time then? I was like, because I really hate it. And he's like, why? And I was like, because there's nothing about it to like, right? I moved a lot myself personally, right? And it's not a fun process, right? So years go by, I end up running a couple companies out in New York, Pennsylvania. I'm also a terrible employee. I come from a long line of serial entrepreneurs, right? I'm just not, the O'Neill as a people are just not very employable, right?
Okay.
So here I am, and I can hold a job for a period of time. I'm really good at pretty much anything that I do. But I'm working in sales, and I watched them start to automate the process.
Okay.
This is about 5 years ago.
Okay.
In doing that, I looked at where I was objectively in my life, and I didn't want to have to make a career change at 50.
Yeah.
So I had to make some decisions about what I wanted to do long term. I'm not a long-term thinking kind of person generally, but I knew that I didn't want to have to make – I've watched people make transitions at that age, not comfortable.
Yeah.
My best friend had moved down to North Carolina. He kind of accidentally started a moving company, right? Because he, again, is what we refer to generally as unemployable or just difficult to be employed.
Sure.
Right. And he started a labor-only company, and in time what happened was he got a job, and the company continued to grow. We talked about me coming down and running expansions for him.
Wow.
Logistically, it didn't work because of my familial situation.
Okay.
So we decided to open a location in Baltimore. That was about 5 years ago. We thought we were going to service from D.C. to Philly. We were a little maybe overachieving.
I was just going to say the same thing,
D.C.'s like its own animal, right?
Sure is.
And somehow the business kind of ran itself for the first year. I was partially an absentee owner because I lived so far from dispatch. 4 years ago, this will be our fourth season in Pennsylvania. We are down in southern Chester County. We are in the most southeastern place in Pennsylvania that you can be. And the most southeastern place of Chester County. You can smell Hers potato chips freshly frying from my office. And that's where we dispatch from every day. We've been able to grow to, I guess, like a medium-sized company as far as moving companies are concerned. And I don't know, man. We have a lot of fun doing it. Yeah. Or at least we try to.
So you kind of answered a little bit what I was just going to ask about, like, why Chester County?
Because my parents are old and I have to take care of them until they die.
Okay.
That is why I'm in Chester County. That is the only reason why I'm in Chester County.
So you grew up in Delco, but they moved to Chester County. You eventually
They were
did.
Early adapters, for that part of Chester County anyway.
Okay. So, but you were in Baltimore, you were kind of doing that, and then how did it transition? Is because you moved, or?
So I was already in Chester County.
Okay.
So it was about getting the office. It was about getting me closer to the office.
Yeah.
I knew that we could leave it the way that it was, and it would produce income.
Yeah.
But I wasn't happy with the results.
Yeah.
So I needed to have a more hands-on approach to grow the business and the quality of work that we wanted to represent us.
Yeah.
The work that the guys that work with us do is an extension of us. So knowing that we wanted to make sure that the quality that we were putting out matched what we wanted.
Yeah. And I think it's, I refer clients to you.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, referral is everything. And I spoke with somebody, prior about this, I'm only going to refer who I really trust because it's my name on the line too. But you guys, you really are friendly. And I jokingly say that to a lot of my clients, but I think you guys are really friendly, but you also know what you're doing. I think that moving service companies, they're challenging, I guess you could say.
I think it's all service-based, right? Anything that's, when you're referring, right, because you're trusting us to work with your clients.
Yep.
And you're in the same position that we're in, it's not a renewable, what we do is not a renewable in a short term.
Right.
Right. So it's a lot of trust. And I get that.
Huge.
Because we're the last part, right? And I talk about this all the time. We're the last part of the most stressful thing that someone does as an adult. Right? It's the biggest purchase, generally speaking, that you're ever going to make.
Yep.
There's a huge amount of stress that is involved in that. And as a result of that, we're the last person that touches your client that you're probably not going to talk to for another 7 to 10 years. Well, I mean, it's so transactional.
Oh, you mean you? Yeah.
Yeah, we're the last people that, right? So you're only going to do a transaction with them over an extended period of time.
Correct.
So it is a lot of trust.
Yeah.
That's the last thing that's going to happen in the moving process.
Yeah.
And we get tied to all of that, right? More so than the mortgage broker, the title company, the insurance company. All of those things are replaceable throughout that time, but no, they're not going to move again in between. They're not going to use a realtor in between. So you and I, we're out there on an island hoping that everything went well enough that they might remember us when they're ready to do it again.
Yeah. I the one situation I always think about is I had a couple, I helped them buy a house here in Chester County, and they were moving from California. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this?
I do.
And, a little bit older. They were in their 80s. Mm-hmm. It was a big, big move. Yeah. And they were very planned and organized, and I just missed it by like a day when I referred you. Yeah. And they said, we just signed a contract. We didn't, we appreciate it. It was an absolute nightmare for them. They didn't bring enough trucks. They got delayed. Not only did they get delayed in the beginning process, but also they had moved in and their stuff wasn't there for like a week.
Yeah.
It was tough. I felt terrible because I wish I had said something to you sooner.
Well, that's my favorite thing. I meet somebody, they're like, man, I wish I had met you last week. I'm like, here we are now, though. One of the things that, being a medium-sized company, we get to offer like a boutique, we get to offer a boutique door-to-door style service. Yeah. Friendly is part of the name, but really services. It should be A&M Service Movers, right? Because we're service first and we're service forward. Our job is to alleviate that stress. Yeah. And that's kind of what we aim for every day. Yeah. Some days we nail it. Some days we miss the mark, And
as long as you learn from it, that's what I always say.
Sure, man. I've been failing forward my whole life.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I have a consistent theme here with all the episodes so far. And I think it has a lot to do with just Chester County itself. Everyone so far you kind of have that same vibe where it's service first. It's all about maybe, medium, small size or family owned. That's what I love about Chester County. And so far, everybody that's been on here has just the same concept. So it's, I don't know, I feel like we're a nice little unique county.
It is. I mean, it's an anomaly, right? So, I mean, just speaking from a real estate standpoint, where we sit doesn't follow the national trends.
No,
not at all. Close, right? So everybody else can be in a down market and we're growing.
Constantly, even during, the crash, we suffered, but like a very small amount compared to every other area in the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's supported by the industry that's here, right?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of large business, a lot of corporate that keeps things moving in the right direction, and I think that we are servicing a bunch of people who work in service as well, right? So the standards, I'm not gonna say it's higher than it is anywhere else. I can't speak to that because I'm not anywhere else, right?
Sure.
But we try and hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Yeah,
normally.
and you guys do a great job.
Well, we're
Speaking from experience.
Adequate at best, probably.
So, I shared a situation where I wished that we used you, and it was just a little too late. But, do you ever have an experience that just really sticks in your mind that was so challenging and, but you're like, we were able to pull it through and make it all work?
So, I mean, I think that we probably experienced that more than I would probably talk about.
Yeah.
One of the things that allows me to move forward with what I do is I have a very short memory. There's a joke in the office: as long as you don't make Tom mad on Friday and Saturday, you'll be fine. We do schedules on Saturday afternoon. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like if it happens by then, part of what we do, you have to hold a short memory, right? What we've found is, and I talk about this all the time with people, there's nothing more expensive than a free lead, right?
Yeah.
We are for all intents and purposes, this is our 4th functioning season, right? And we are 98% repeat and referral.
That's fantastic.
We don't do any paid marketing or advertising. It's all done face-to-face, word-to-mouth. They used to call it guerrilla marketing. I don't know if that applies still anymore or not. I'd have to check that out.
That's new to me, but
that was like Pabst Blue Ribbon. You know what I mean? They never had commercials. They just sent guys out to give out like free beer. We don't give out free moves, but so it's all relationship driven. And what we found is that no matter what the challenge is, it's our job to make it right.
Yeah.
And that's why I say there's nothing more expensive than something that's free sometimes.
That's a great phrase.
Right. There's times when we'll lose money, right? We don't like to do it. And it's a very small percentage, right? I mean, there's one that happened recently. So, it's always, you always get like the most recent thing that happened, right? Yeah. Which is probably like not even the most traumatic thing that happens to anyone, but it's the most recent, so it's fresh,
Yeah.
We service over 1,000 moves a year, right?
Wow.
If we lose money on a half a dozen, I think that'd probably be a lot, right? Mm-hmm. Keeping everything going it's a juggling act, right? Having the right people, having the right attitude, because it's all driven by, it's managing people, right?
Yep.
So the approach that we've always taken is that you, the realtor, are really our clients.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm going to deal with you more often than I'm going to deal with somebody who's actually functioning a move.
Yep.
So my responsibility is to make sure that you're happy, right? The client, obviously, right? Because that's what you want. You want your client to be happy.
Exactly.
But I need to make sure that it's going to resonate and the resolution goes through with what you're looking for. Yeah. We get to do some incredible projects, right? So not too long ago, we worked with a young lady, a realtor. Who will remain nameless for the sakes of the pod. The cast is the pod, is the cast, is the podcast. Event. For the event, right? She'll remain nameless because she's not Jenny Lee, right? But we get contacted by this young lady, and it was extenuating circumstances.
Okay.
There was a gentleman, there was some illness, there was some personal changes in life.
Okay.
He had inherited a few things from family members that had passed on.
Okay.
And what we were able to do is kind of come in and streamline the process for the realtor and the client.
How so?
So we come in, and the first thing that we do is we empty out everything that was already existing, right?
Okay.
So there was 3 families worth of things in this home.
So just a little bit.
So the basement was right. It ended up being 2 trucks and 2 10-by-20 storage units. But what we were able to do was alleviate the idea of it just being stacked in a unit. So we took each unit, we kind of set it up like it was with aisles, so it could be walked through.
Okay.
So this gentleman, as he gets to a point where he gets to go through these things, because he was downsizing as well. I mean, it was a lot. Like every box got ticked for like, hey, do I want to pull all my hair out, right? Yeah. So the first thing that we did was come in, we emptied out everything, and we were able to disperse that into 2 storage units that were accessible. We relabeled everything. A lot of stuff had to be reboxed because there was no idea or identity to it. So we were able to rebox it, relabel it. Everything was facing out, labels, what it was, where it came from in the house, all that kind of stuff in these storage units. Boom, boom, boom. Then the next step was to take all of the belongings in the house and pare that down, right? Okay. For those of us who are not in real estate, pare down means get rid of your mess. Your real estate agent's going to say, we'd like your home to look like it's lived in, just not by you, right? So that's what you're kind of going for, right? I mean, you want it to feel like it's anybody's home, not your home, but anybody's home, right? So that was what we were kind of tasked with. Okay. So to alleviate the stress of taking all of the things that were already in the house out of the house, by taking everything out that was already existing, then we replaced it with the stuff that we pared down, and we put that in the basement and got that prepared for the move. And then there was another 2-day move that was involved with it down the road. So, I mean, I
have a feeling that realtor probably was very happy with the sale. Mm-hmm. We've all been through it, realtors, and then with my design aspect too. I just image everything. You hit active on MLS and it blasts out to 1 million websites and everybody sees. Yeah. And first impression is everything. Mm-hmm. And you're either looking at a hoarder house, right? A house full of boxes. You can barely see the size of the room and get a good idea. Or you see the home for what it actually is. Right. And I mean, that will make 100% difference. Yeah. People wouldn't even want to even go see it.
The other side of it, too, is you want to leave it so it remains livable for the person that's in there, right? Yes. So, I mean, there was like 3 couches in the living room. So instead of eliminating all of them, it was like, hey, could we repurpose this? Because the realtor was everything's got to go, right? And I get that. So I get to stand in there and I'm like, well, instead of taking it out, could we put that down in the basement since there's not a sitting area? And the TV set up, but there's not a couch there anymore. And they were like, yeah, that's great. You know what I mean? So like we have that ability to kind of think forward and we think from both perspectives, right? So being a homeowner, and I've worked in real estate, you know, so I have that perspective as well. I know what the end goal is and I know who I work for, but I also know what the client's goal is because I've also, I live life. Right? So I know what I want. I know what the expectations is. Change is scary. Selling a house is scary. Downsizing is scary. Right? All of those things are terrifying.
And the last thing that anybody wants to do is pack up boxes.
Oh, yeah. Once you get packed one time, once you have packing services done, you can't go back.
It's one of those tasks that I feel most people probably, one, it's hard because, especially if you're living there. Right. And you're like, what do I pack? What do I keep out? So that just right there is stressful to even think about that process. And then, and then just doing it. But like when the time is right, it's a lot. And so for me, I know how I respond to things like that. I'm just like, oh, and I like just push it off until the last minute. And then it just becomes crazy stressful. So I'm positive that this gentleman that you helped, I mean, you probably just relieved so much stress for him, like, and it sounds like, you might offer some design services.
Oh, I mean, anything's possible. In a world of infinite possibilities, we could get there maybe.
So in the end, I mean, it was a process for sure. Sure. And it had to be planned out, but you really went the extra mile. Of course, I'm sure it costs a little bit more for that seller. But if you think about it, in my perspective, doing what you did and, spending a little extra money, he probably made out so well on the sale of his home versus what it would have been if you didn't come in and offer this great concept.
Yeah, it had to have helped. Right. Yeah. And that's what the end goal is, is to put everybody in a position where they're happy in the end. Right. Fair service, fair price. Right. Yeah. My grandfather was a builder and developer. He said, you get good, fast, or cheap, pick 2, son. Right. Yep. And that's so kind of what we've always kind of modeled ourselves against.
Yeah. And I mean, 98%, you said, referral?
Repeat and referral. Yeah. I mean, some people find us on Google, but that's kind of almost
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think that's just telling right there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've done an adequate job.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, putting ourselves in a position to survive.
Do you have anything coming up? Any special deals, or do you do something annually, quarterly? Like, do you throw anything out there for people that I can share?
Yeah, I mean, we show up. That's what we do, That's a big deal in what we do. We show up when we say we're going to. So, I mean, for our realtor friends, we run a pretty standard deal. We do 100 off a local, 250 off of a long distance.
Okay.
It sounds like Jenny's putting me on the spot. She wants an extra deal.
No. I always just like to ask people if they have any promotions coming up. Or,
I mean, so that's a fairly standard that we do for realtors. Yeah. Yes, so that would be our standard.
That's pretty nice.
And then, what you give us an opportunity to do is work in our community as well, which is what's so important to us.
Yeah.
I was talking about this earlier today. I've learned a lot of very valuable lessons in the past few years. Like, I always knew I was fairly unemployable, but as a result of that, I also am not a great board member when it comes to working with nonprofits. There's a lot of emails and communications.
Yeah.
I'm like a read the first sentence, read the last sentence kind of guy. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of stuff in the middle that you can't skip when it comes to that stuff. So I found that I'm not great at that, but we do enjoy working with a lot of different nonprofits in the community. So, we don't offer a ton of discounts, but a lot of what we do goes back into the community.
That's awesome.
The other thing that I learned at a very, very important lesson that I learned is when you offer discounted services, sometimes it makes you feel like you can offer discounted services.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we don't discount our service because we don't discount our service. And it takes a lot to keep something moving these days.
Yeah.
We're in a position where over the last 3 years, a lot of things have increased. Then one of the things that hasn't increased is our rate.
At all.
No.
Wow, that's impressive.
I wish.
There's a discount right there.
I wish, because you got to stay competitive, right?
Yes.
And I've got friends in the moving industry, and it's a hard thing to raise the rate on. And there's people who have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do you want a lot of a little or a little of a lot?
Exactly.
We've found a good balance where we can kind of keep everything moving.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to have to here shortly. I mean, insurance is
inevitable, I think, over time, especially over the last 3 years, everything that's happened, and you haven't even made a change.
We might tickle it this year a little bit, though, I don't know. We'll have to see.
But it seems like, it's time, right? I mean, if you've been holding out for, no one else certainly was, let me tell you. I mean, insurance alone, and how many vehicles, trucks do you have?
There's several many, as my kids would say. You have several
many.
You have several many trucks, Daddy.
I love it.
Yeah, my kids love it. We love having the kids out there, too.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So anybody that's listening might be curious about you guys. How would they find you?
Facebook. We're pretty popular on Facebook. We're popular in real life too, but on Facebook we're extremely popular. So Pennsylvania, office number is 484-339-4207. At this point, you will still talk to somebody who owns the company, somebody who has an ownership stake in the company.
Yeah.
That will be changing shortly. I mean, just because of growth, we're going to be in a position where we're not able to answer all the calls.
Understandable.
Our website is www.amfriendlymovers.com.
Love it.
You can get a quote request there, and then AM Friendly Movers Tri-State at the social medias.
Okay.
I think that's an @ thing. I'm all right on Facebook. I don't understand how it all works. I think we're on the gram. I'm not sure. That's the gram. We don't tweet or twit or X or any of that stuff at this point. But I guess maybe we should. I don't know.
I mean,
it seems popular. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. It's a preference, I think, for your business, how you want to grow, and might not be right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just another thing to manage, right?
True. That is true.
We have a pretty full plate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the easiest way to find us, I think.
Awesome.
If you need a quote or you need some information, or you can just reach out to Jenny. Jenny knows how to get in touch with them.
That is true. So I can certainly point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I love that they can go on your website and put some information in to get an idea of, okay, what are we looking at here?
Well, it's going to trigger a phone call is what it is. You'll get like a baseline quote, you know what I mean, which will tell you like kind of what an hourly rate looks like for movers. It's not an inexpensive proposition, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's overly expensive. So our average move cost is about $2,200.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're buying a 3, 4, 5, 6, if you buy a $300,000 home in Chester County, you're probably not living in Chester County.
Good point.
You know, but, you know, if you're that's for your basic 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yep.
Not a starter home, but like your family home.
Yeah.
Right? The more services you add, the more it becomes, right?
I think of it as with movers, a couple of things actually, you know, it's all your stuff. It's all your valuable stuff, right? And, you know, I just feel like, and you don't want to do it, right?
It's
so
not
those
fun.
are two really important things. So to me, I'm kind of like, where am I going to spend the money in the process of buying a new home? You know, whatever it may be, I'm okay. Like that is money well spent, in my opinion. In all the other things that in the process of moving, you know, it is money well spent.
And buying a home, the cost of buying a home now, it's almost like a blip on the radar. And I don't say that inconsequentially. You know, I understand that it's still an investment that you're making. But your time has to be worth something.
Exactly.
Right? Most people are making settlement on 2 properties in a day.
Yeah.
So if you're making settlement on 2 properties, you can't.
It's
how do you know, you have a family, right? That's, you know, or you're past the family point, which means you're not moving at all. You're not doing the stuff by yourself at all anymore.
Right, exactly.
Right. How do you want to, you know, packing services, like you said, you know, it's huge.
Yeah.
It doubles the cost of a move. It will, because it's a whole nother day out there. But here's the thing. What it'll take you 6, 8, 10 weeks of weekends to do, we send a crew in and it gets done in a day.
And you sound so organized.
We'd like to be. We'd like to think so.
You face the boxes where you can read the labels, and
now the handwriting.
That's a dream to me.
Handwriting's questionable sometimes. You know what I mean? Not exactly. Movers aren't exactly domesticated people, you know, but they do their best.
But you guys are still, you know, you're making it easier. You're going the extra mile to make it easier for the sellers, buyers, anyone moving, to just really make it a lot smoother for them when they're in their new home. They know where things are, and, you know.
That's the goal. So you get to spend more time. You know, you want to spend the time enjoying your home that you're moving out of, right? You made a lot of memories there.
Yeah.
It was yours. You know what I mean? It's hard to walk away from.
Yep.
And then you want to be able to spend your time effectively in your new home.
100%.
Starting to create new memories.
Yeah. I love it. Anything else you want to share? I really appreciate this, and I'm sure a lot of people listening did too.
Anything that I want to share? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, reach out to Jenny for all your realty needs, you know?
I didn't pay him for that.
She does that design work too. Interior designer extraordinaire, you know?
Yeah.
Relationships are important to us. It's important to us every day. And in Friendly Movers, we're pretty involved in a couple different places where the relationships get built.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
support
key.
Your local Chamber of Commerce. They're huge in their community.
Yeah.
Support your small to medium-sized businesses in your community. I mean, these are people that are making a lot of sacrifice to make sure that what you are purchasing from them meets or exceeds the quality that they would expect.
Yeah. Well said.
And then the last thing is, please, 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 please treat the people who service your home like human beings.
Yeah.
We can forget that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, some people hire labor or service-oriented things, and they think they're purchasing people, but you're really just purchasing a service.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of guys who take a lot of pride in what they do, not only with what we do, but with a lot of the other service-based industries.
Yeah.
You know, let's treat these folks with respect that they deserve. They did not have an easy go of getting to where they're at, but they're there, and they're passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
So let's treat everybody with a little bit more respect, maybe.
I like it.
All right.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, I appreciate you having me out.